Let me start over. Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Q&E Podcast. You already see how we got it set up today with the visuals. You already see Edgar tell the people what's good.
Yes, sir. We are here, the first visual of the Q&E Podcast. You get to see me and Quincy face-to-face this time, and you actually get to see our live reactions as we say some of the crazy stuff that we say to each other. So let's get into it. You see I got my Bucks gear on today. Number 2 day for draft day. So,
yes, sir. Y'all see I don't got nothing on because, like I said, I'm a fan free agent. Panthers got me mad, so I ain't wearing nothing, man. Wherever Cam go, like I said before, that's where I'm going. But we're going to just dive into the first day of drafts, just first day of the draft and the storylines, and also just go along with y'all about the picks that are getting picked right now. It's currently the end of the second round, pick 59, so we just go with y'all through the picks, talk about some of the early first round, early second round picks at that, and just chill with y'all for this time we got. So first, the biggest thing of the first round was Jordan Love at picks 26. Let's just start there. Let's not bury the lead, man. Jordan Love. Edgar, what was your first reaction to the news, man?
I was very, very shocked at this. First off, let me just say this. I'm not mad that Jordan Love was picked by the Packers. I actually like Jordan Love, and I feel like it was a good pick by the Packers. It was just the wrong time. I don't feel like they should have picked a quarterback in the first round. I feel like although they made a statement afterwards saying how it wasn't a shot at A-Rod or anything like that, but if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm really looking at that as like, damn, like y'all really trying to replace me that bad?
Exactly.
Like, cause don't get me wrong, A-Rod is 36 years old, so he's on the back end of his career, and it's time to look towards the future. But that first pick could have been towards like a offensive tackle or something. Or a wide receiver to help A-Rod while he's still the starter. That could have been what the first pick was used for, and then you could have picked the quarterback in the second round. So I was shocked. I felt like that was slapping the face to A-Rod.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with y'all. At that point in the draft, I was kind of tuned out, so I really just was going down Twitter and seeing how everybody's reaction was changing, and that's when I actually tuned into it. But how I felt about it, I think it's definitely a long-term play. And they should have got him a wide receiver. It's plain and simple, man.
Exactly.
It hasn't had a true number 2 receiver. He's had Devontae Adams for all these years, and he hasn't had a number 2 receiver. I don't even know who the Packers tight end is right now, because I want to say Jimmy Graham just left.
I think Jimmy Graham just left.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham left.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he just left.
And he wasn't doing anything anyway, so you definitely could have picked another tight end. So
yeah, he wasn't the old Jimmy Graham no more, exactly. So it was like,
Yeah, bro. So it was like you could have got a wide receiver, a tight end, like another offensive lineman. It's like, but you gave me a backup quarterback that I can't do anything with, bro, who's going to try to get a job in a few years. And everybody was trying to compare it to how the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, how that situation was. How do you feel about that comparison? Because I don't really think it reigns true in this situation.
Nah, I don't think it's the same because the hype of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers during their college years was way bigger than the hype of Jordan Love. So it was like you've seen the passing of the torch coming when they drafted A-Rod and Brett Favre was still with the Green Bay Packers. So it was the vibe of that was just totally different than what it is now. And plus, I don't feel like it was any type of disrespect in Brett Favre's eyes at that point.
No, Brett Favre felt disrespected at the same time.
I don't think he did, because it was like they were still good. Like they still had playoff chances. He was still performing at a decent level. He didn't get to his bad years yet. He was still pulling out the last few good years that he had left with Green Bay. So I feel like it was a totally different situation. The vibe was just different. Jordan Love doesn't give me Aaron Rodgers coming out of college vibes. He doesn't give me – he's good, but he doesn't give me that. So I feel like it's a different situation.
And definitely with the Aaron Rodgers thing, it was like he was a top prospect. Like he could have been the number one.
Exactly.
Smith was the number 1 pick in that draft. Like he could have been number 1. But Alex Smith was number 1, and he really slipped down the board. So that was a top-tier prospect that you really got to steal for. So that's really why they picked him. And that situation is not the same here because he was supposed to go in that range. He was really called a second rounder, to be honest. And the fact that you traded up for him, gave up picks to get him, it's like you keep telling me that it's not a shot at Aaron, but you try to tell me something by trading up for him as well. So
exactly. That's why I'm like, it wasn't a purposeful slap of disrespect, but at the same time, it was still disrespect nonetheless. So
And the fact that the Green Bay Packers just got to the NFC Championship game last season and got killed by the 49ers. So it's like, and I want to say in that NFC Championship game, they had 186 rushing yards. The 49ers did 186 rushing yards before contact. So they were running all over the Packers. Nobody was getting touched. The wide receivers were running crazy. And you don't get anybody on defense. You get him no weapons. And it's just, wow, bro. It's like you really leave me with nothing here, bro.
The disrespect.
Pick him in the second round, I feel like it would have been a better situation.
Can't disrespect the bad man like that.
Yeah.
Can't disrespect the bad man.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll work itself out. That was just real shaky. I hope it works itself out because we already know the type of the bad energy that was between A-Rod and Mike McCarthy before McCarthy just left. So hopefully with the new coaching system implemented, hopefully they can work these picks out and find a way to integrate everything into the system before the season starts. So,
and that's something that needs to be talked about as well, because this could sour the relationship between him and the new coach in LaFleur. It's like you draft not getting me help. That could sour the relationship as well. And could well, I don't think it's gonna pan out like the trade demand, like a lot of people were speculating today. But that's something you could be looking at in a couple of years because you're not giving me the help I want. Like the past years, you haven't been giving me the help. And then this is really like magnified because everybody realizes like you're really not trying to help me, bro. So it's just like, should he leave? Should he ask for something? What do you think he should do in the coming years?
I don't think anybody should leave in this situation. I feel like, first off, A-Rod should just finish out his career there because you're 36. Like, if you go anywhere at this point, you need to be jumping on a team that for sure is a deep playoff contender, and all the deep playoff contending teams have quarterbacks right now. So if A-Rod were to leave, I don't think he's going to pull any Tom Brady stuff and jump to a super loaded team that's just literally missing a quarterback. I don't see him doing anything like that because there's no room to do that. Tampa Bay was the one and only spot where talent was everywhere but truly at the quarterback position. So I don't see A-Rod going anywhere. I don't see the need to even trade Jordan Love because he is the future. So it's just, I don't think anybody needs to leave in this situation. It's just whether or not they're going to work this out.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's something that we should watch in the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to be any changing of the guard right now because it's clearly Aaron Rodgers. But I feel like we were talking about it during the season. Like, we were starting to see a little bit of drop in Aaron Rodgers' game. So I'm like, I wonder if the coaching staff seen the same thing. It was like, okay, let's get his, get his replacement now set. And we seen him get injured in the past. So this could be like a that type of thing as well.
Yeah, he's always had some type of injury each season, whether it be minor, whether it be major. Aaron Rodgers over the past 4 or 5 years has had his injury problems. So injuries on top of the fact that you're getting older now and you just I still feel like he's that bad man, but I'm being realistic at the same time. I see the decline. I definitely see the decline with A-Rod, and it's just it's time. I told somebody this the other day. I got this from a movie. When it's time to dang, I forgot how the quote went. When your time is up, the young folks will tell you.
Yeah. And that's what happened. I don't know. I was about to say this. That's what kind of happened in New England, but I think Tom still won championships after that. But
yeah. So that quote doesn't stand with everybody. Let me just say that right now. It stands with most people.
Yeah, that's true, bro. All right, bro. So let's move on. So we were talking about on the podcast. We just came out with a podcast a couple of days ago, and we were talking about, or was it yesterday? We just dropped the pod.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So we dropped the pod yesterday talking about if Herbert was going to be the pick for the Dolphins at 5 instead of Tua because of all the injury issues with him and if they were going to take that risk and if they should be safe and go with Herbert. And the Dolphins ended up going with Tua. It's kind of up for the Dolphins for making a decision, man. I like it. I like it a lot, man. Everyone's saying Herbert, but I really would like Tua a lot. My pops was on me yesterday talking about they should have went somewhere else. But I like it.
I'll give it to them on that. I'll give them a hand clap on that. They did what Quincy said. They took the risk.
Yeah,
they took the risk instead of playing it safe. I would have played it safe. Shout out to the Chargers for picking Herbert. I've been telling everybody Herbert is the most slept on quarterback in this draft. I mean, obviously he went first round and it was a top 10 pick, but I still feel like he's very overlooked. if it wasn't for the injuries that Tua sustained throughout the end of his Alabama career, I feel like nobody would even be mentioning Herbert's name that much. So I feel like he's the most slept-on quarterback in this draft. But shout out to the Dolphins for picking Tua. If Tua can stay healthy, his talent will take him so far in Miami. And I feel like they can get their first Pro Bowl quarterback since Dan Marino. After me and Quincy just read that, the Dolphins ain't have a Pro Bowl quarterback since 1995. So I feel like Tua can definitely be that.
Yeah, and what I was about to say, both of the quarterbacks honestly fell into pretty good situations if you look at it, bro. Because Tua, in his situation, you really need to sit him down, let him rest for a year in red shirt, and you get that in Miami with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And also, when you look at Justin Herbert and how his situation is going to play out with the Chargers, that team is really loaded. It's just the fact that Phillip Rivers couldn't get them over the top because he was getting older and things like that. But he has a pretty good situation right now.
And he got a number one receiver in Keenan Allen. So.
Yeah. And he got Mike Williams from Clemson.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to say Hunter Henry, the tight end, Eckler at running back. So he's got, like, offensive pieces everywhere. I don't want to say he starts this year because they keep saying Tyrod Taylor is going to be the starter. And also, I think that could be a Cam possibility if they want to switch it up with that. But obviously, Herbert is the future, and that's where they're going to go. So, congratulations to both of them because both of them had pretty good situations.
Definitely.
And let's ride with CD Lamb, which was another big storyline of yesterday, bro. How did you feel about that pick and what direction the Cowboys are heading?
I ain't going to lie. Y'all know I get on the Cowboys all the time, so I ain't finna give them too much credit for this pick. But they low-key had the best pick in the first round. I'm not going to lie. CeeDee Lamb going to the Cowboys. Now you got Amari Cooper. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Gallup. They still got Randall Cobb, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Cobb with the Houston.
Cobb with the Houston. But still, you got those three receivers. You still got Zeke in the backfield. Like, and you still have a Pro Bowl defense. Like, so the Cowboys just added another weapon to their arsenal. But with the Cowboys, what can go wrong will go wrong. So as much hype as I want to give them for that pick, I'm still just going to sit back like, I got to see it work. I have to see it work.
Were you surprised for them to take that direction, especially with the fact that Byron Jones just left the free agency and their safety position has really been lacking over the last couple of years? A lot of people thought that's the direction they were going to go. But they took the value. Were you surprised?
I was surprised. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I didn't see CD going anywhere else. So it was kind of like I seen it happening as a possibility, but I was still shocked at it because I agree. Their safety position is still vacant at this moment. So it's kind of like that would have been the logical thing to do. But the fact that they took a risk and was like, let's just add another weapon for Dak. So offensively, there's literally no excuse to not score.
No excuse.
There's no excuse at all. So I feel like that was a good risk that the Cowboys took in that situation. There was no right or wrong answer with either one of those things.
And a lot of people had CeeDee Lamb going like, it wasn't top 10, but it was top teams like that 9 to 12 range.
Because he was like, what, number 17, 15 or 17?
To the Cowboys.
Yeah.
In fact, he got all the way to 17, and that was crazy. Like, I want to say it was 6 wide receivers drafted in the first round and 6 O-linemen. So, like, position was heavy in the first round. And does that really give you a sign of where the NFL is heading, especially being so pass-heavy with the wide receiver and O-lineman?
I agree. I think it goes to the point of, like you said, how pass-eccentric this league is now, to where you need an O-line, you need a quarterback, and you need skilled players. Like, this is not a run-first league anymore. As important as it is to have a star running back in this league, it's even more important to have the O-line. Nowadays, you can have an average running back that can get you 2 to 3 yards a carry, which is very average or below average. But as long as the offensive line is great, that running back can thrive, and also the quarterback can still do what he needs to do because he'll have time in the pocket. So the fact that nowadays O-linemen are just taking up at least like just under a third of the first 15 picks in the draft, I feel like that says a lot about where the league is headed in the pass-friendly league.
Yeah, and the same thing is 20 of the 32 picks in the first round was straight offense. So you can just tell, like Edgar was saying, man, straight pass heavy when it goes to that. And somebody else who is going to a very pass heavy offense was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I know that's somebody you like coming out of LSU. So how do you feel about that fit?
yeah, to make a point to what you just said about Allaire, the Chiefs, I did not see that coming at all. That was for the last pick. You know how at the end of a story, when you know there's a part 2 coming and they still give you a cliffhanger, even though you
Yeah.
know there's a second part coming.
Mhm.
That's how I feel like that was. Like it was like, damn, like I didn't see them picking Edwards-Helaire at all. Because Edwards-Helaire to me is a strong like power running back. I mean, he can catch the ball, but he's not one of those running backs you can just put in the slot or anything like that. He's a true running back. So I didn't see the Chiefs going in that direction. I was surprised that DeAndre Swift still
Exactly.
sat in the draft for that long.
Mhm.
And he went to the Lions, I think. He was the
35.
third
Yeah.
pick in the second round. So yeah, let me just make a point to that. This draft this year is crazy. The talent that was just sitting in the second round, like at the end of the first round, I was like, there's at least 10 names that should have been picked for the first round that weren't. But you can't even be mad at the picks that were made in the first round because there was just so much talent this year. But
Mhm.
to go back to the Chiefs, I feel like they just added to their arsenal because it's now not only do you have to worry about Patrick Mahomes, but when they need those necessary 3rd and 2s or maybe even a 4th and 1, Edwards-Helaire can definitely get that power running game strong to give Patrick Mahomes a relief.
Yeah. And I definitely echo all your sentiments, bro. I definitely thought but Swift was the best running back in this draft. I even want to pick Dobbins out of Ohio State. That's how big he is and how shifty he can be in the backfield. But Hilaire, that's somebody, he has a great story as well. He's somebody who shouldn't be in this position. He's 5'9". His size has always been doubted toward all his career. And the fact that he was a first-round pick, a lot of people didn't see him getting this far. And he got this far, man, going to a great situation. It's like, that's crazy, man. That's definitely crazy.
Yeah.
And what else I was talking about? Let's talk about Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, man. So a lot of people had Jeudy rated as the best wide receiver in this class and had him in the same ranges as CeeDee Lamb. But Henry Ruggs was the first wide receiver taken by the Las Vegas Raiders. Let me get that right. The Las Vegas Raiders at number 12. How do you feel about that? Let me see, connection with the Raiders and Henry Ruggs.
I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, John Gruden has been making some questionable decisions ever since he got in Oakland and now being in Las Vegas. So, I mean, I like Jeudy. I think not only do I think, but he literally is the fastest receiver in this draft class. So it's not wrong to pick him. But right now, I still feel like it's question marks around the quarterback area in Las Vegas, even though they who's their quarterback now?
Carr, but I know they just signed Mariota too. So.
Yeah, I'm about to say they signed somebody. I know Carr's still there, but they signed somebody. So with Carr and Mariota, it's like I'm not really sure how many catches Jeudy is gonna get right off the bat. But I still feel like
Ruggs with the Raiders.
Yeah, Ruggs. My bad,
Yeah.
I said Jeudy. But Ruggs, I feel like it's still a good fit right now. If they can fix the quarterback situation, I feel like Ruggs will have a good career to start off in Las Vegas. So
and it's crazy, bro, because the Raiders had a very solid season last year. A lot of people, especially after Antonio Brown left, a lot of people thought the Raiders were going to be like 4-12, and I want to say they ended up 7-9, 8-8. So it was a solid season for. They didn't have any wide receivers, honestly. Antonio Brown left. They had Tyrell Williams was their number 1 receiver, and he was a number 3 receiver, and all his other.
Jared Cook went to the Saints and showed out for the Saints. So.
Exactly. But now, I feel like the Raiders have a good nucleus for offense. They have Darren Waller at tight end, who really emerged last season, and he was like a top 5 tight end in the league. Josh Jacobs, who I've been a huge proponent of since he got into the league. I had him on my fantasy team last season.
Yeah.
The entire game. He's a stud in the backfield.
Shout out to DeQuez. I think DeQuez said he had him on his fantasy team too.
Exactly, man. Josh Jacobs was racking them up, man. Every game he was getting about 100 in a touchdown. You can't ask
exactly.
for more. But like I said, man, they need a quarterback position. So I don't know what they're going to do this season because I've always been somebody who was a fan of Derek Carr, but I feel like it's just gotten to the end for him. I don't know if it's the relationship between him and Gruden. I don't know what it is. So do you feel like he's the future, or do you feel like they're going to go in another direction?
I feel the same way. I feel like Derek Carr's time has passed. I don't want to just say he's done completely, but at least in Las Vegas anyway with the Raiders organization, his time has passed. If he wants to be successful, I feel like he should just go to a new system. Him and Gruden, I really don't see patching things up and just seeing eye to eye like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's a spot I can actually see Jameis in, honestly, bro. I can really see Jameis going.
I can see that too. I make jokes about Jameis all the time, but seeing him with John Gruden and that old school mentality of playing with the type of play that Jameis has, I can see that working, honestly. Yeah. So if there's one team that I could possibly see this man working with, it'll be the Las Vegas Raiders. But until then, I don't really care. I don't even want to bring that man's name up.
Pittsburgh as a backup until Ben retired.
Well, yeah, Pittsburgh too. That was a good situation. But I like the Raiders' destination better.
I think if he goes to the Raiders, he can start this year. Like, he can be there over Carr. Because the thing about John Gruden loves to go deep. And if you get the wide receivers, they already got Ruggs, they already got Waller. If you get the wide receivers around Jameis, he'll make it happen. And like I said, he got new eyes, so I feel like better decisions are going to come with new eyes.
Man, you and these eyes.
Me being a good advocate for Jameis.
These eyes, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, he got new eyes, man. He a whole new quarterback at this point.
All right. But I'm going to let y'all win. I'm going to let y'all win the arguments. I'm going to keep letting y'all win.
We just going to ride it out, man.
I'm going to keep letting y'all win the arguments.
We're just letting you know, bro. James going to go somewhere else and win.
As long as he's not in this red and pewter no more, I don't care. As long as
James going to go somewhere else and win. He going to show y'all up. Man. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying. But
I'm just say okay. I'm gonna let you win it.
That's what I'm saying. Let's move on. Let's go. But something I've noticed about the Raiders' draft strategy is I feel like they reach for a lot of their picks. I feel like Henry Ruggs was somebody who was considered a reach last night. Like I said, they could have got him later in the draft. And they also drafted Damon Arnett, who was somebody who was projected to be like a late second, third round pick. And they had this same philosophy last season where they drafted Farrell at 4. And they drafted somebody else high. I don't forget who it was. They had 3 picks last year in the first round. I forgot who.
They did. I can't remember them either.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all these picks. So
yeah, exactly. They were all reaches at the same time. So how do you feel about that philosophy? I feel like the Seahawks have that same philosophy as well, where it looks like they're reaching a lot for their prospects. How do you like that philosophy?
At this point right now with the Raiders, it's like you can't reach too far after all the pieces that you let go. So reaching out right now, just trying to get the best available thing in the most awkward fashion, I won't really give it a thumbs down because if it works, it works. If it doesn't, hey, at least you tried to shoot for the stars. You know, after not having Antonio Brown, after not having Amari Cooper, after Khalil Mack going, Jared Cook, like after all these big names leaving the organization, to shoot for the stars now in such an awkward way and just grab people at the most weirdest times or the weirdest picks, it's like, hey, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you try. So
how do you feel about that trade today? So that trade happened a couple of years ago. How do you feel about that trade today for both teams? Because when you look at the Bears, they're still in like a middle of the pack in their division type of situation. I don't know what direction they're really going because the quarterback position. And you look at the Raiders, I feel like they're more on the upswing. So when you look at both situations, how do you feel who's winning the trade right now?
I mean, right now, I would still say the Bears are winning the trade because once you fix that Mitchell Trubisky situation, the Bears just go completely up from there. Like, they go completely up once you fix that quarterback situation. So I feel like right now, even though the Bears are still kind of like a middle-of-the-pack team when it comes to the NFC, and even though they're, like, still going to be, like, maybe second in their division for the most part, I still feel like once they change that quarterback situation, it'll be a complete difference maker in where that team goes. So,
man, what else we got down here? Let me see. I think we done talked about everything. How you like Jerry Jeudy's fit with the Broncos?
I like that. I actually like that. They got Jerry Jeudy, and who else did they get today in round 2? Damn, I think they got another receiver.
They picked another receiver.
They did. I have to look it up real quick. Give me 1 second. They picked another receiver.
They did, and I love the pick. That's why it's crazy. I forgot. Damn.
So many picks today. All right, I'm in round 2 right now. To the Denver Broncos, it was. Damn, it's not loading. Come on. Oh, okay, there we go. KJ Hamler. That's who it was. KJ Hamler. Yeah. So that was a good pick to me. I feel like once they get their quarterback situation handled as well, I feel like Denver has always been pretty solid. It's just they can't never get over a certain hump. And I feel like these two offensive weapons that they picked will definitely help them get over the hump that they're on right now. And once they get their quarterback situation handled and figure out how to just continue the good coaching that they're going towards, their defense, they don't need to worry about their defense at all. So I just feel like the Broncos are going in a good direction. And offensively, they will not be anybody to mess with, in my opinion. So,
have you seen Drew Lock play at all? Do you believe in his game? Because I've seen him look pretty solid.
He's solid. I wouldn't say I just believe in Drew Lock. But first off, that name sounds real medieval, Drew Lock.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it was an off-brand Andrew Luck type of thing. That's why he got into it was like an off-brand Andrew Luck. I didn't know how I liked it. It just felt real off-brand.
I feel like for right now, for a temporary stance, Drew Lock will be good, but hopefully they draft somebody else in this draft for the next couple rounds. Hopefully they draft a quarterback just to still groom somebody coming up for the temporary time being. But for now, Drew Lock is gonna have to work with the weapons that he's given. He's given 2 all-star weapons right now, so it's hard to just not be good when you got Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler on opposite sides. So,
all right, bro. Now let's dive into the second round a little bit. The biggest notable name on the second round has been Jalen Hurts. He got picked by the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't forget what pick it was. It was in the 40s or 50s.
Philadelphia Eagles. He was pick number 53.
Pick 53. So he with the Eagles. It's a kind of interesting situation for me because
Carson Wentz, pack your bags. Pack your bags, Wentz. Pack your bags. I'm telling y'all right now, Carson Wentz will no longer be the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I give him 4 games. I give him 4 games to mess up. If he messes up within 4 games to the point where they have to change,
it's not that type of situation.
They're going to put Hurts in. I'm telling you, Carson, at the end of next season, Carson Wentz will no longer have the true starting position for the Philadelphia Eagles.
How can you say that after he just carried his team with no receivers to the playoffs last season?
Hey, the Eagles just told you what to pick. They just told you right now.
Second pick.
Jalen Hurts is a starting quarterback in this league. Like, he needs to start.
Yet, bro. I don't think he's not yet.
Jalen Hurts needs to start, bro. He needs to start. He's starter worthy.
They're going to use him like Taysom Hill, bro. I think they're going to use him like Taysom Hill. He's going to get his spot plays here and there, but I feel like he could be used like.
You know what the big thing is with this pick, though? I feel like the Eagles don't trust Carson Wentz to stay healthy. I feel like that's what it is. Because I feel like Carson Wentz probably just not going to be successful, but I feel like I'm thinking that because of his injury proneness. So if Carson Wentz gets injured, like we've seen him get injured the past few times now, Jalen Hurts going to step right in, going to deliver a couple dubs in a row, and they're going to be like, hey, man, we can't mess this up. We got to keep the train rolling, and he's going to keep the starting position from that point.
Now, that's probably the biggest point of the reason why they drafted him was because of the injuries. I feel like, especially in that playoff game last year against the Seahawks.
Yep.
They were in the game the whole game, and that was with Josh McCown as their backup quarterback. And Josh McCown couldn't even move the ball. So if you like Jalen Hurts in there, they could possibly win that game last season. And that's probably, like Edgar said, man, that's why they drafted him. So that's a very good point, bro. Very good points. Definitely the injuries. Definitely the main reason. Who else? Oh, the Bucks pick, Antoine Winfield. So they went Antoine Winfield, somebody who was a first-round value and somebody that a position of need at y'all for the Bucks. So how do you feel about that pick?
I don't feel like he was a first-round need, honestly. I feel like there were a lot of other picks that could have deserved and did get picked in the first round. I don't see the first-round hype for him, but he is very good. Definitely a second-round worthy pick. I feel like Antoine is very good at playing the man position at safety. And I feel like also he's strong enough to go up for jump balls. I love his hops. I didn't see a lot of him live throughout the season, but watching his highlights and just seeing the way he covers and how he can make jump for deep balls and get the interceptions or not the interceptions, but the deflections that he was able to get, I feel like it'll create a strong presence for us in our backfield because our secondary is really what hinders us on defense. So I like the pick. I feel like it was a good move. I feel like the Bucks are 2 for 2 in this draft right now.
Yeah, very good picks. I think that, like I said before, that was a position of need. And I've watched Antoine Winfield in a couple of games this season when Minnesota was definitely hot. And he was somebody who really jumped off the screen because all of the ball hawk plays that he made. Whether it was wherever the ball was, he was at. That's what I'm saying. Because, yeah, he was just the ball hawk in every sense of the word. If you were throwing it in that direction, he was over there, or he was deflecting it or picking it off. If he was on the tackle, he was about to tackle somebody, or he was around the pipe. Like, that was his game. And I feel like he can do something for the Bucs as well. Because they need somebody like that, just like a junkyard dog you can put in the
exactly.
It's going to make plays every time. And I feel like he's that somebody. And they got good value, man. They got him in the middle of the second round. Like, you can't ask for anything better than that, especially at a position of need.
And we need a strong start. We need him to start off strong. I know it's going to be pressure because he's a rookie. But, hey, right now with us getting Brady and Gronk and getting this offensive lineman that we got right now to protect Brady, there's no room for error this season. I feel like, honestly, as a Bucs fan, it's Super Bowl or bust this season. At least for me, I feel like that's how everybody else is going to view it.
They should look at it like that.
That's how I look at it. It's Super Bowl or bust. I'm not taking just making the playoffs. No, because that's just unacceptable. If we get the greatest quarterback of all, I get it. He's in his 40s now, and like he's not in his prime, quote unquote, anymore. But still, if Jameis Winston can get 30 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure Tom Brady can still get 30 touchdowns with the talent that he has and the progression that the O-line is making. So I need Antoine to be able to be strong defensively right off the bat because Devin White and Levante David and Ndamukong Suh and Gerald McCoy, JPP, the defense is stout. Vita Vea, the defense is stout and it's there. I just need everybody defensively to make a strong effort this year, and I feel Antoine can make that strong effort off the jump.
Because y'all have good corners, but they're just young at this point. Like y'all got Bunting that's solid, and y'all also got Carlton Davis who is solid. That just needs experience at this point. So they're probably going to draft another corner, but I think they already have the pieces at the corner position. They just have to develop, and that's really all they need, man. Because they're already.
I've been telling everybody we don't need a running back. Honestly, like we really don't. Ronald Jones is a good running back. I keep telling people that. They're like, no, y'all still need a running back. No, we don't, bro. Do you see all the offensive pass weapons we have? The last thing we need is if we get a number one running back, that means we're going to waste time getting all these offensive pieces to not have any defensive pieces at all. Like, no, I'm glad we didn't try to get a running back because Ronald Jones gets about 3-4 yards to carry, and he's doing just fine right now.
That is solid, bro. But let's dive into the Cincinnati pick. So, obviously, we already knew who the first two picks in the draft were going to be. It was basically set in stone with Joe Burrow and Chase Young. But now in the second round, the Cincinnati Bengals ended up picking somebody that can go across from A.J. Green and T. Higgins. So, how do you like how they're preparing or setting everything up in Cincinnati for Burrow?
I love it. Cincinnati has always been one of those teams that it's like they're trash, but they're only trash because we just label them as trash. Like talent-wise, Cincinnati has never really been trash. It's just they can't generate the wins and they can't get to the playoffs. Or if they get to the playoffs, they just lose horribly. Yeah. So it's like talent-wise, I feel like they're still on the same upswing that they usually are on. But now that they got Joe Burrow with A.J. Green, and now you got T. Higgins on the other side, man, it's going to be crazy. I know Joe is just jumping for joy right now because it's like, hey, not only do I have a number one receiver, but y'all just gave me a number two receiver right off the bat. Yeah. I'm liking that.
All right, bro. And also, you had some words about the Okudah pick. How did you feel about the Okudah pick at number 3?
I feel like the Lions, they weren't wrong for picking Okudah, but at the same time, I feel like they should have made an offensive pick at the same time because I know they need secondary defensive picks right now because I don't really like their corners at all. I feel like the corners that they have right now are just I'm trying to be nice about it, so let me not say what I feel. I just feel like right now they need to find a way to help Matt Stafford, and because I like Matt Stafford. As average and stat padding as Matt Stafford is, at the end of the day, he still generates the stats. So I like Matt Stafford, and I feel like they should have just tried to get a wide receiver for him. Maybe that could have been where CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy could have went instead of the Broncos or the Cowboys, and that would have been a great pick to help Matt. But I don't feel like Stafford hasn't had a top receiver since Megatron, honestly.
Yeah, they got Kenny Galladay, but that's really it.
Yeah, but still, I'd rather have Jeudy or CeeDee over.
But that was real high for them, though. I think Okuda is somebody that can be just like Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward was somebody who stepped in for Cleveland and was a top corner off the bat. And he was out.
Yeah, I like Okuda now. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I like Okuda. So I feel like he'll do well. It's just I thought the Lions would have tried to go offensive with that first pick. Especially based on how everybody else damn near went offensive.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. 20 out of the 32, especially how the NFL is going, you need more offensive than defensive pieces at the end of the day. It's like it's a race to 35. It's not really about shutting anybody down anymore.
Exactly.
35 as the race, especially when you're chasing somebody like the Chiefs who you know is going to, you know what I'm saying?
It's a shootout game at this point now. Like Quincy said, at first it used to be who can generate the most stops, but now it's who can hit 35 first, who can hit 42 first, you know, so.
Yeah, but I'm somebody who loves Okuda as a player, especially after they just got rid of Darius Slay. He went to the Eagles, so that both of their corner positions is open. So the Okuda picks, I actually like it. I actually like that pick a lot, man. So shout out to the Lions for making that decision. And the first 3 picks of the NFL draft all played on Ohio State at some point. I want to say it was 2017.
Yep.
Ohio State.
I think that's the first time in the first round that three of the first round picks all played with each other at some point. I think that's the first time that ever happened.
That's crazy, bro. I didn't know Ohio State was getting them. That's a shout out to
I looked at the entire roster for that team when they were all together at the same time. Even though they all weren't where they are talent-wise right now, just the names that you've seen all on the list at the same time, I was like, damn. Like,
yeah.
It was crazy seeing all the names that were on that list.
Okay, who else got picked, man? Who else got picked? AJ Terrell. I wish Black was on the podcast to dive into this pick.
Yeah, shout out Black. I seen his tweets last night. He was so confused. He was like, I hope this means something. Like,
yeah.
I seen him tweet today too, though. He liked the second pick that Atlanta made. So it was it was a lot of mixed feelings for him last night.
Yeah, because Terrell had a lot of questions, especially after that championship game, because he was the main one getting toasted by Chase, was their number one receiver of LSU, was getting toasted their whole game.
Yeah.
You think he was gonna be first rounder? You picked him at 16. That's a little rich.
That just means they probably, like Larry said, they probably see something we don't see. And exactly. I'm blind right now because I don't see it.
Exactly.
I'm definitely blind right now. I don't see it.
I can't see it at all, bro. One last one before we just dive into just rock with the draft. How do you like the Grant Dell pick with the Browns? Somebody that's basically a luxury pick at this point, man.
I'm honestly surprised. Like I said, this draft class is crazy. I'm surprised Grant Delpit was still on the board at the end of the first round. So him going to the Browns, that just adds to the Browns' arsenal. Another strong AFC team on the uprise, just looking for a quarterback change. And we gotta – Baker Mayfield either needs to just do a complete 180 or they gotta switch, bro, because there's no reason you should have all the defensive and offensive weapons that you have in Cleveland. Now I will say the coaching is a problem too in Cleveland. But still, if you got the right quarterback and all the pieces that you have, the coaching can be subpar and you can still win talent-wise. Exactly. So I feel like Baker Mayfield, that's the thing that is going to be the determining factor on Cleveland's success. But I like the fact that he went to Cleveland. That just adds to their defense.
I feel like if he doesn't develop this year, I'm talking about Baker Mayfield. If he doesn't develop this year, this has to be the year where it's a make or break season. It's year 3. We're not waiting. Especially in the next draft, we can draft another quarterback just as good. Especially in the draft of a Fields, you're going to have Lawrence. I'm forgetting the third quarterback name. It's somebody else who's in that class. It's like you got some quarterbacks coming out next year that could definitely be difference makers for your team. So I feel like if Mayfield doesn't develop this season, he can definitely be like on the cut block.
And shout out to Delpit. Delpit pissed me off a lot when Florida went to LSU this past season, and we were close. It was a back and forth game. We had the lead and LSU had the lead. It was a close game all the way until like it really mattered in the red zone, and Delpit was just all over the place, making incomplete passes. I think he had one interception in the red zone and then another interception on another part of the field. But shout out to Delpit. He a dog too. I really like Delpit.
Everybody who wears that number 7 for LSU, you know they're gonna be a stud in the league, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got Tyrann Mathieu, and now you got Delpit. All the number 7s are studs in the league, man. They can't fail. So, yeah, man, that's all the topics we got, man. We just going to just rock with y'all, man, and watch the draft. I think that's it. Yeah. So, we on pick. What pick we on right now? Pick 68.
Yep, 68.
So, who just picked? The Jets. Yeah, they getting to the 3rd round. I don't even know most of these names, dog.
Yeah, I was about to say at this point, like
I don't even know most of these.
Everybody's learning right now at this point. Nobody really knows at this point anymore. The only names I'm still waiting for are my Florida guys: LaMichael Pirine, Tyree Cleveland, Zuniga. Them the 3 names that I'm waiting for right now. So.
Yeah, bro. Oh, Van Jefferson just got. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah, Jefferson already got picked. So.
Yeah, to the wire. He went to the Rams. Somebody who could replace the Cooks that they just lost.
I don't really like that pick.
Why you don't like the Bears? They just lost a couple receivers.
I don't know. Jared Goff. I don't have 100% faith in him. So
Yeah.
I don't got a lot of faith in Jared Goff. I like him. He's straight, but I need my Florida people to get a little bit better help. So make the most of it, Jefferson. Same thing with C.J. Henderson. This man went to the Jaguars, one of the most irrelevant NFL teams right now. Like, the Jaguars have nobody. So it's like, damn, like, I would hate to start my career that way. But best of luck to both of them. I hope they find a way to make it the best decision right now. So,
yeah,
best situation.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out who Carolina drafted. Yeah, bro. He's just looking. Ashton Davis. Who's this?
Like I said, we're all learning. We're all learning at this point. After pick 60, everybody's just learning. Yeah. We're all learning who's left in the draft at this point. So
I was kind of just waiting on Jalen Hurts, bro. I was kind of just waiting on Jalen Hurts to get picked, and then that was gonna be it for me. I'm satisfied at this point. I ain't want him to go where he went, but I'll take it regardless.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, show them what you had showed us, what you just showed me, bro, about Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Bill Belichick, by the way, this man literally, I don't know how to say it. This man is probably the funniest person in sports, and he doesn't try to be at all. Bill Belichick was in his I guess his dining room or whatever, and his dog was at the computer. And the dog was at the computer around the time that New England needed to make their pick. And I was just like, oh my gosh, don't tell me the dog is making the decisions. And it was just crazy. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find the dog picture right now. Oh man. Please tell me I ain't lose it.
I'm telling you, the dog over there making all the decisions, man. He picked somebody from a D2 school, bro. No lie. Bill Belichick bathroom. The dog picked somebody from a D2. I don't know what's going on. The dog all decisions.
We go right here. Do your job.
Got the dog right there.
Do your job with the dog at the chair. Belichick is not even in the room.
Not even in the room.
That just goes to show that he just really doesn't care about this draft at all, honestly.
Oh, and that's another thing, bro. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast, but I know we talked about it earlier about the Patriots just tanking this season. I really feel like the Patriots are going to tank this season. Brady.
I hope they don't. Y'all know how I feel about it.
They're going to fight. They're going to fight. They're the Patriots at the end of the day. They still got something to play for of the legacy of the Patriots. But this isn't going to be the year where you should expect a lot out of them.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Edgar has said it over the past couple of pods that the Dolphins are going to be the second best team in the AFC East behind Buffalo. And I agree with him at this point, especially after everything that's going the Patriots' way. They're not drafting a quarterback. I see potential in it. It looks like they're going to ride with Stidham. I don't like that at all. So
yeah.
Trade for Rosen. I think that's somebody that they should go for from Miami, especially with the overload at quarterback that they have over there. But if they're going to ride out with Stidham, they definitely not going to win that many games. And I don't see that much talent at other positions. Because last year, Tom had none. So it's like, what are you going to do this year? Being that you can't make a lot of things happen and you're going to ride with somebody young. So it's like, man, the Patriots going to be bad. Like I said, they're not going to call it tanking. They're going to be like 6-10, 7-9 in that range. But Cowherd made a crazy point today. He was like, a lot of people have their quarterbacks in check. A lot of these teams have young QBs or have the old QBs that are, you know what I'm saying, going to have their time. You know what I'm saying? Still got time left. But a lot of these teams are going to be picking early, like the Cincinnati's probably going to be picking early. The Giants probably going to be picking early again. They don't need quarterbacks. So the Patriots can easily be like the 8th or 9th pick next year and trade up or even to them. Yeah, trade up for an early pick, you know what I'm saying? And be in prime position to get a Justin Fields, to get a Trevor Lawrence, just because everybody else is set at that position. And they could be going on with that quarterback for years to come and be the Patriots we know. So that's something that we should look forward to as well. So shout out to Cowherd for that point, man. I listened to his podcast today, man. It was definitely a good point he made. So shout out to him. But that's somebody. I also like Fromm going there too. I love Jake Fromm's game, bro. I've been saying it for a long time. I love Fromm, and I would love to see Fromm in a Patriot uniform because I think he screams Patriot to me, bro. And I think he could be the second.
I can see that happening. It would either be Fromm or Lawrence, either one of those two.
Exactly, bro. And Fromm is a first round talent. He hasn't been picked yet.
Oh yeah,
he's a first round talent.
I agree. I totally agree.
Past couple of years haven't been his best. That's something I would openly agree. But I think he's more of the Fromm from the first year when he got the Georgia Bulldogs to the championship and they were like a couple of plays away of winning. I think he's more of that Fromm than the last couple of years, being that the offensive line wasn't that great, the wide receivers, you know what I'm saying, they were real young and they didn't know what they were doing. And a lot of his picks were like tip picks because the wide receivers were just young at that position. So I feel like the pro system, he's somebody who's a first-round talent or at least top of the second. And somebody I can see flourish when he get to the pros. What else? Miami is currently on the clock. That's still crazy to me, bro. Last Pro Bowl QB, Dan Marino. That joke would never get old, bro. I could have sworn Tannehill got to the Pro Bowl, though, bro.
I don't think he did. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was saying the same thing as you. I thought Tannehill did, but don't even look it up. You could have been disappointed.
Tannehill got there, bro.
You could have been disappointed.
That is crazy because he got the Dolphins to the playoffs. I remember he got the Dolphins to the playoffs one year.
Just because you get to the playoffs, I mean, you're going to the Pro Bowl.
Oh, I guess he didn't make it Pro Bowl with them. He made the Pro Bowl this year.
I say, just because you get to the playoffs, now I mean, you're going to the Pro Bowl.
That's crazy. I could have sworn he went to the Pro Bowl before, but he went to the Pro Bowl this year. Shout out to the Tanny Wagon, man. Shout out to the Tanny Wagon.
I'm not calling that man that. I refuse.
You already know how I feel about my man. You already know.
Not calling him that at all.
Yes. You already know how you rocking over here, man. Big Tan. Let me see. Let's talk about the Jets for a little minute, bro. The Jets situation is something that's real weird, bro, because they have Sam Darnold, but after that, and Jamal Adams on the defensive side of the ball. But after that, you're like, where are the pieces? How do you feel about the Jets coming up in the next couple of years, bro? How do you feel? What is their upside right now?
The Jets' upside, I see them in the next few years being a dogfight team. I feel like the AFC East, everybody, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills, I feel like those three teams over the next 3 to 4 years is going to be a dogfight for first place, honestly, because with the development of Sam Darnold and with Jamal Adams leading that defense the way he is, I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. So with him leading that defense, and hopefully if the Jets front office is smart enough to add pieces to that defensive line to help get them stronger, I feel like it's going to be a dogfight for first place in that division.
And that's the biggest question, bro. You know what I'm saying? Is the front office really trying to help them out? Because they don't have any wide receivers right now. Offensive line is shaky. You got Le'Veon Bell. You paying him $13 million, but you can't do nothing if you Le'Veon Bell with no O-line. So it's
I'm about to say, even if they put him at the slot, he still can't really get how he wants to. So.
Because last season we was looking at Le'Veon Bell, it was like, damn, that's not even the same Le'Veon.
Yeah, it wasn't even. I'm looking like, damn, like he barely even hitting 100 yards, barely, like just barely.
Barely hitting 100. Because it's like you got the offensive line, and they had, you know what I'm saying, Sam Darnold had Marno, so the beginning of the season, he was going through that whole thing. So that's the reason for such a bad record as well. But still, like, I don't know where they go. Is Adam Gase the coach that can take them to a playoff or have them in a fighting chance? He didn't do anything in Miami. I don't know how he got the job with the Jets. So it's like, is he even the guy who should even be a head coach? like it's still questions about that as well. So it's like the Jets, where do you go from here right now? Miami is picking somebody right now. I'm really excited to see.
How many picks are left? We're on 70.
Of the third, this is the third round.
Oh, damn.
I think there's 98 picks for the first 3. So it's like 28 more picks.
Damn.
Brandon Jones, safety out of Texas. Solid.
Yeah, see, we're just learning.
Yeah.
Really
I don't watch Texas. I don't watch Texas at all. Don't care about it.
I watched them a couple times, but like I said, we're learning.
Yeah, I watched Texas one time. It was versus LSU. It was like one of the first games against of the season. Ooh,
yeah, I can't watch this late into the draft. I've never been able to watch this late into any NFL draft. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of players, and I refuse to just watch this late into the draft. I just can't.
Yeah, bro.
Maybe it's because let's dive into this point before we go. Like I feel, NFL. I hope you're listening. Anybody that knows anybody that can get my point to the NFL, please do this. They need to find a way to make the draft. First off, they need to find out a way to put rounds 1 and 2 in the same night, because there's no reason the first round of the NFL draft should be 3 or 4 hours. There's no reason at all. Like, I get it. The hype is the top 32 players in the nation that are going to be picked. Well, not necessarily the top 32 players in the nation, but the top prospected 32 players in the nation. Yeah. I get all that. I get the hype. I get it. We're finding out the new talent that's coming to these pro teams. But 3 to 4 hours, bro, no.
Crazy.
10 minutes, nothing more than 2 hours, maybe 2.5. Like 2 or 2.5 hours, that should be it. And the only reason I say that is because you still need commercial time. You need advertisements. You need a little bit of time in between each pick. So 2 or 2.5 hours is fine. So anybody that got a way to any NFL ears, let them know I said make the NFL draft the first 2 rounds in one night and make it 2 or 2.5 hours. Because I refuse to be up from 8 to 12 just watching the NFL draft. And it's only one round. Like that's yeah, no,
around pick 20, bro. I'd be tuned out anyway.
I literally stopped watching after like pick 21. I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching anymore. I'll just look at my phone for the rest of it.
Exactly, bro. I definitely be tuned out, man.
They were just taking forever, bro. I'm like, oh my gosh. Especially when we could anticipate who was about to get picked next with certain picks.
The first round was real predictable too. They was trying to hype up this draft as being so many trades. I mean, they do it every year. They said trades, and it was really nothing. It was real predictable first round. Like a lot of the picks, a lot of these mock drafts had locked up or had, you know what I'm saying, predicted before. But just give a couple of names that you're excited to see next season, man, in the next draft. You know what I'm saying?
In next year's draft?
Next year's draft, yeah.
I think Kyle Trask for Florida, our quarterback. I'm definitely excited. I'm gonna tell y'all now. I'm not saying he's gonna win, but Kyle Trask is going to be one of the top quarterbacks going for the Heisman next year. I promise y'all. Because the SEC right now, quarterback-wise, is open. There's no Tua in Alabama. There's no Joe Burrow in LSU. I mean, you got Jake Fromm in Georgia, but like Quincy said, he hasn't been the same Jake Fromm that we've seen his first year. So
Jake Fromm in the draft.
He in the draft?
Yeah, he just didn't get picked yet. Yeah, he declared. He ain't even.
I thought he was coming back for senior year. I'm tripping.
Yes, he gone.
Yeah, because Kyle Trask coming back for senior year. This is going to be his senior year. So I thought Jake Fromm was doing the same thing. So that point,
bro. It's open.
That goes to my point even more. The SEC quarterback-wise is open. The top 3 schools that you worry about in the SEC, they're open. I mean, you still got Bo Nix and Auburn, but I don't see him competing at all for the Heisman. At least not next season anyway.
Not next, in a couple years.
That's a prediction for mine. Kyle Trask being a front runner for the Heisman. Who else am I excited to see? Wow, who else? Trevor Lawrence. I was disappointed with Clemson this season, even though they made it all the way to the national championship. I just didn't buy into the hype of Clemson. But I feel like Trevor Lawrence will definitely have a better season next season, considering it'll be his last one, most likely, and he'll declare for the draft. So
Bro,
I'm excited to see Trevor.
Let's dive into that real quick, man. So a lot of people say, and they had the same conversation about Jadeveon Clowney as well, that, man, why even risk the injury? Why come back for your third year when you can just sit out the whole season? You're already locked up as the number one pick. Why even play? How do you feel about that discussion, and where do you stand on it? You think players should sit out and just train that whole year, or is it better to, you know what I'm saying, play and risk injury? Which side do you stand on?
I mean, some players just really it's hard for me to give that take, because that would be me speaking on how much somebody loves the game. You know, do you either take your love for the game and say, bump it, I'm gonna do some Michael Jordan stuff and just take that risk. Like in the Last Dance documentary, Jordan said it's a 10% chance. That means 90% chance I'll be okay. So I feel like that's a lot of athletes' mindsets most of the time when it comes to certain injuries and stuff like that, or possibilities of injuries. So I feel like it just depends on what they want to do. Do you want to take that chance and just ball out for one more season, or do you want to just play it safe and protect your draft stock and just train on your own and just get ready for the draft?
Yeah.
For an even longer period than what you would have.
Yeah, because we seen Jadeveon Clowney. He came back for his year, and I don't know. It's just, I just feel when you come back, they also have more time to poke holes in your game and question if you can do it on the NFL level. So when you're not on the field, it's like, you know what I'm saying? They can't poke holes. You just give them the.
They can only go off what they've seen, what they've seen you do so far.
And we see Trevor Lawrence. His first 2 years have been the best 2 years we've probably ever seen from a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Got to a championship and won it. Played half the season, and then this season was another great season. Started off rocky, but still ended up great. Got to the championship game. So it's like, what more does he have to prove? You already have a championship, but it's all about love of the game. Edgar made a great point. It's all about love of the game. I remember they had that same question about Zion when he had the knee injury. And
exactly.
And he same thing, but Zion's love of the game had him come back for that season. So it's like, it's really a chalk up thing. I think
everybody was saying how he should just sit out for the whole season. I'm like, man, if he good enough to come back, come back. Now, I would never tell nobody to come back and just risk the injury if it's really that high. But if you feel like you 100% and your doctors give you the clear, come back. Like, don't fall into the, bro, just sit out this season and just come back 100%. If you feel like you 100%, nah, do it. So,
yeah.
Because I don't like all that sitting out stuff if you don't need to sit out. Like, I don't like all that. So.
So how do you feel about players sitting out of bowl games at least? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the game, most of these prospects don't play their bowl games. So do you think that's more of a love game, or is that more just trying to stay safe?
Now, the Senior Bowl, if you don't want to play the Senior Bowl, then I'm like, okay, because it's like, what value does the Senior Bowl really have other than it's just all of the seniors playing? So I don't feel like the Senior Bowl holds any value. So if you don't want to play that, that's cool. But choosing to not play in a bowl game, like if you're Oregon and you're the top quarterback or you're the top wide receiver and you don't want to play in the bowl game, like what? Like that makes me that will make people think that bowl games just don't matter anymore. I mean, they try to make it not matter anymore now because you got the national championship. It's like national championship and then bowl games. So I feel like, but I like bowl games, bro. The Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, like I still hold value in all of those. So the what you call it bowl,
Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, Fiesta Bowl, like all those type of bowls, bro. I love watching those. I feel like they're mini championships in a way.
Yeah.
So
because for a lot of these teams that get there, I mean not for a lot of the teams, but for some of the teams that get there, like the Boise States in past years, or for the UCFs, these are big games. These are still big games for these smaller schools that get to these Cotton Bowls and Sugar Bowls. And they can actually show what they have against the big-time schools. It's just the question is the big-time schools, you know what I'm saying, want to play another game against the small-time competition? That's really, that's really the question. But they're really becoming obsolete at this point. They are becoming
exactly
because of your point of the playoff, and they got it so on a pedestal.
Because it's like with UCF, I don't think UCF will ever have a chance to get to the national championship. Like the only way UCF could have got a nod from the committee to be taken seriously, like, okay, this could be a top 4 team in the nation, they would have had to win. They would have had to be undefeated 3 seasons in a row. That was the only way that was going to happen. when they lost those 1 or 2 games at the end of the second season of them being undefeated, that was all the committee needed to be like, nope, y'all don't deserve to be ranked with these other high tier teams. They would have had to win 3 undefeated seasons for everybody to be like, okay, we can take UCF.
Exactly. Yeah, they got a bit of a reputation at that point, man.
Yeah, but I'm like, you expecting the team to be 100% undefeated and perfect for 3 whole seasons? Like, you just expecting them to be like Alabama out of nowhere? Like, no, bro, come on now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same.
Like, that's just unrealistic at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. But how do you feel about at least the expanded draft, since we're on this topic? Do you think that should come into play, especially just to gain more attention to the other bowl games? Should it be a expanded draft? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel like the draft should stick to the way it is now. I don't feel like there should be anything added. I don't feel like there should be anything taken away. Just keep it traditional. Keep the same number of picks, same number of rounds. Everybody get their fair share, and everybody get their fair low percentage shot at going pro. So
yeah. Hey, one name before we go, man. One name I want to put on the map, man. If anybody is listening, bro, Pro Wells. He's gonna have a big.
Oh yeah.
From the Bird, bro. My brother from the Bird. Pro Wells gonna have a huge season next season, man. Definitely watch out for him. TCU tight end. He had an okay season, or he had a good season this year. He could have had a way bigger one if his quarterback was like, you know what I'm saying, good. His quarterback freshman, he was still trying to get used to everything. But he's gonna have a great season this year. Watch out for my brother Pro Wells. Gonna have a big season, man.
I think he holds the receiving yards record for TCU now, if I'm not mistaken.
Or touchdowns because he
either has the record or he's on track to get the record. So shout out to Pro. I remember watching Pro play in high school, and to see where he is now, it's crazy. So shout out to all St. Pete athletes. Shout out to all Florida athletes. I feel like Florida run the NFL. We put the FL in NFL. I tell people that all the time. So people like to argue Texas or Cali or whatever, man. Florida run football. I don't care what nobody say. We got the best athletes. So
and we got one of the biggest pipelines at the Wood, bro. We got
exactly. Lakewood High School, man. One of the biggest pipelines, man.
Exactly, bro. We got Shaquille, Shaquille Griffin, and
Isaiah Wynn.
You got boy from other Chargers, Jenkins. He used to go.
Rodney Adams.
Rodney's in the league.
He went back in the league. He with the Colts now.
Marquez Valdez. Come on.
Old heads like Lewis Murphy.
How did we not win state, bro? We had so much talent in West.
That's a subject. That's a subject we can't talk about on the pod. I can't talk about that on the pod. I can't. I love Coach Moore too much. We can't talk about that on the pod. We can't. Because then I'm gonna have to dig in deep on why we ain't never make a decision.
He has so much NFL talent.
I don't want to do that. Let's end it. Let's end it right there.
All right, bro. Man, definitely. We're gonna get my man on the pod, man. I gotta text him, man. Get on the pod. But we're gonna have David on the pod. David Jones was a player at University of Richmond. He played for the New England Patriots and the Detroit Lions last year. He's currently slated to play in the CFL, in the Canadian Football League. As my cousin, we're going to have him on the pod, if not next week, because we're kind of full for next week, definitely in a couple of weeks. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Another Berg boy, went to St. Pete High School, not the Wood. But you know what I'm saying? He still got the way he needed to get some.
Exactly.
Well, man. And I think we can wrap it up, man. Hit him with the social media.
All right. If you want, and not even if you want, if you need to, I feel like everybody needs to, you can follow us on Twitter at QE Podcast 1. You can follow us on Instagram at Q_and_E_podcast. And you can follow and like our Facebook page at Q&E Podcast.
Yes, and you can follow me on Twitter at Q_Hicks3. Follow my man Edgar at Edgar Martin 97 and his IG at Edgar Martin Official. And you can also subscribe to our podcast platforms, man. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, you know what I'm saying, Spotify. We're on everything. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we are there. Type in Q&E Podcast. I promise you we'll be there, man. Look us up and I'll plug the articles.
If you ever want to read any articles that I've written over the semester for University of Florida with our ESPN program, you can go to www.wruf.com, read any ESPN Gainesville articles that I or other Florida Gator students have written.
Yeah, man. So, and for me, it's you can look at my articles at sfmn.fiu.edu. Just type in my name. You can see the articles I've written over the years. And I feel like it's something else I wanted.
Oh, shout out to Blue Collar Media Group. We are
That's
part
what
of
it
them
was.
now.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Blue Collar Media. Appreciate that. Shout out to Blue Collar Media, man, for putting us on. Steve Reisner and all the group, man. We appreciate y'all for all that. And we out. Peace.